Hello, hello, hello. Well, it's happening again. Every so many years, things change in Linux. And sometimes things get broken, and other things advance. If you're planning on buying a more top-end, like laptop, apparently they've redone how they do the cameras, and the drivers are not going to be installed by default. You have to go and download them and install them yourself. It's an Intel thing. And also, excuse me, Microsoft and Lenovo and a few others have partnered together with their new security features in the chipsets. Now, Lenovo has left the ability to turn this feature off, but you got to go into the BIOS and dig through and find it. And from what I'm hearing, it might just be a stopgap, a temporary stopgap. And it looks like it's going that way permanently. So I don't know what that's going to do for Linux on certain lines of PCs. If it's going to expand even further than that, I'm not sure. Anywho, I'll leave a link down below for the drivers for the cameras. But if you're buying brand new top end, I would think about twice putting Linux on there. I would actually go to Tuxedo Computers, System 76, and the likes of that. Like, Linux distributed systems where you get them pre-installed on them if you're really interested in running Linux. Now, I'm going to run a short video clip. In the video, it's Brian Gardner's video. Or Gardiner Bryant's video. Sorry, Gardner. Anyways, he went to a little old Linux get-together down in California. Learn Linux TV was there, and DasGeek was there. And in the video, they all talk about how he went and bought 5 laptops, I think it was. And yeah, he went and bought one, brought it home, tried to put Linux on it. No matter what distribution he tried, could not get it installed. Went back and got another one. Same thing. Anyways, that's when he made the decision that he's gonna start using just Linux systems that have been tested and optimized for Linux. Here we go.
Yeah, so an interesting thing happened. Normally, obviously, go buy Linux hardware when you can, but we've all been in this long enough that we've had this experience. I've only been in Linux for about 6 years, but I've had this experience in the last 4 years, I would say, where I would go to a store, I'd pick up a new laptop to do a review on my channel or something else, bring it home, put Linux on it. Maybe I had to switch distros, like maybe Pop! OS wouldn't work, I had to try Arch or something, but eventually a few command line tricks, a couple forum posts later, I could get the thing working perfect.
Yeah. Pause it right there. Now, I've never had this happen before, personally.
Well, I was moving recently and I got rid of all of my 6 or 7 laptops that I had in preparation for the move because I had desktops and other things I was getting rid of. And so, and the conference came up and the move got delayed. Everything was terrible, so I had to go to the store and pick up something quick. I couldn't order a System 76 or a Tuxedo or anything else in time. I needed to go grab one. No big deal. I've done this 1,000 times. Yeah. I go to Best Buy and Micro Center. I have a list here. I got an HP Omen, an Asus ROG Zephyrus, a Dell XPS, a Lenovo IdeaPad Pro 5, and a Asus ZenBook. Oh. Now, each one I bought individually and had to return because I could not get Linux to work in them at all. And when I say not at all, I mean you would play.
Now, I've had it to where a corrupt file. Oops, sorry about that. I got too close to the mic. Now, I've had it where a corrupt file on the download would prevent installation. So I don't know. He's using a special program that allows you to put multiple ISOs on a USB flash drive, and that's what he was using here. And I've never used the program. Myself. Turn down the audio here. Obviously, it's way too loud. Now, I've never used the program myself, but I've seen a bunch of other Linux users do it and use it. So, I don't think it was anything with his download or... Yeah. Anyways, I would avoid those lines if you're interested in buying new in Linux. I would also check the chipset and see if it has a shoot, for the life of me, I can't remember the name of it. It has to do with Microsoft security features for secure boot. The chipset, it's in the chipset now instead of how they've been doing it. If I'm saying that correctly, I'm not sure at the moment. I don't have the article here with me. But anywho, we're gonna move off to this one. If you're a gamer and on Linux, the developers of glibc have decided to omit out DT hash. Now, DT GNU hash here has been the new standard for a while now. They've developed it for about 16 years, and they finally omitted out DT hash. And what this does is it breaks EAC's anti-cheat for Proton. So any games that are based and or rely on that are unusable right now. And the developers are not going to re-implement it, as far as I know. Steam has put their 2 cents in, and I'm not sure exactly what they're going to do. They're kind of bummed out about it because it obviously breaks, the Steam Deck, because it's Arch based, and the rolling releases, the cutting edge distros have been hit first. Now, like Ubuntu and anything based off Ubuntu probably won't get hit for a while. Debian definitely won't be getting hit for a while. So what they've suggested is downstream distributions omit the DT hash themselves if they want to keep it going. It's not perfect. Let's hope that they do that, or they find another way to go around, or it'll be up to EA Games to redo all those games just for Linux, which I don't see that happening. Basically redo all those games and point to DT GNU hash in the programming for the games. So yeah, I'll leave the link to this article so you guys can read it. I'm kind of bummed about it. And Glorious Agrol has his own distribution. If you don't know who he is, he's a developer for Red Hat Linux, and he came up with Proton GE or GE Proton, and also Proton Qt, which allows you to download custom Proton builds and implement them in Steam. So he has his own distribution. It's called Nabarro. I will be checking that out here pretty soon. I've already checked it out once, right when it first came out, and wasn't quite there. Now that was like 4 to 6 months ago, or 4 months ago. I think it was closer to 4 months. Yeah, 4 months. In the world of developing and programming, that's that's quite a stretch if you're actively working on a project. So I've heard it's come a long ways, and I couldn't get the KDE version working for the life of me. I tried it in VM first, couldn't get it to work, and then I tried it on bare metal, couldn't get it to work. While the GNOME desktop version did work. Now, Nabarro is based off of Fedora, and Fedora and me, I'm not a fan of Fedora. I don't dislike it, I'm just not a fan of it. The reason I'm not a fan of it is because by default, non open source software, they have repositories for that, and they're not enabled. You have to go in, read this how-to, jump through a few hoops, put in a few commands, and to re-enable it. I'm not a fan of distributions not allowing it by default. That's my only problem with it. But Glorious Agrol has enabled that by default and has added game mode and a bunch of other tweaks to the system and the kernel to optimize it just for gaming. So I get to hop again. Yay! All right. Yeah, that's all I've got this time around. So I hope you guys found it informational. If you're new to Linux, my current recommendations for new users would be RizzyOS and Nabarro for Fedora-based distributions, and Linux Mint and Pop! OS for Ubuntu-based distributions. System 76 is the maker of Pop! OS, and they put Linux on their systems. That's it. And it's optimized. They have a version of Pop! OS that's optimized for their systems. So if you want, head on over to System 76 and get yourself a brand new one. Their systems, oh man, I wish I could afford one. I wish I could afford the bottom tier one. But I'm so broke I can't rub 2 cents together, so. Anywho. Y'all have a good time, and stay safe and stay cool, because it's still summer. And I'll see you next time.